everybody. Welcome to Zeus Angel Mystic. We are going to get into a collective reading today, all about you. Typically, I do a raffle, a question on Sundays, but I'm not doing that this Sunday because it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day if you celebrate. So, we're just going to talk today, and I'm going to do a collective reading for anyone who comes across this live stream. Also, I did want to make mention that Monday is going to be the full moon in Scorpio. So if you want to know how that's going to affect you, check out your natal chart and see where you have Scorpio in your natal chart. Highly recommend. If you're watching horoscopes on here, check your rising and your moon sign. The star sign, the sun sign, your birth date is not as accurate as the rising. But anyways, this full moon on Monday is going to be conjunct Uranus. So it's the time to be real. And we know full moons are always about cutting things out. So anyways, let's get into that. Today's reading is about how to not put someone on a pedestal. Yes, because essentially what it is, if you have the tendency to get a little obsessive or put someone on a pedestal or go into limerence or fantasy when you like someone, more than likely you're not realizing that you have a lot of value. Your love has a lot of value. And the power that you're giving away to this individual is based on the story that you're telling yourself about this other person. Okay. And more chances than not, your friends and your family, people around you, if you're not with the person that you're putting on a pedestal, that you're fantasizing about or obsessing about, if it's your ex or if it's a crush, more than likely your family or your friends, maybe they don't understand it, right? Okay. So coming out of obsession is very important to realize that everybody's human. Nobody is a god. And that helps you to have a little bit of attachment when it comes to how you approach someone, right? It allows you to be a little bit detached, not put someone on a pedestal, and not fall into a place of delusion about who this person is, because that's how we get into these obsessive type of situations. Okay, so if you're the type of person to really get overly attached, put someone on a pedestal, think that they're amazing, maybe even more so than they really are, then this is for you. Okay, you're the gift, you're the prize, your love and your affection is what has made this other person special. And the more that you value the energy that you give to other people, the more you value yourself, the less that you're going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to other people, people that you have a romantic interest in. So let's see what the tarot has to say about it. Let's see what the tarot has to say about falling into limerence and fantastical thinking in dating. We're going to use the cards as talking points. Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is a messenger. So it can feel really, really good when you get a message from someone, when somebody gives you attention, when somebody gives you that validation. And I feel like when we put someone on this pedestal, when we romanticize them and we just tell ourselves the story about how awesome they are and how good it feels to get attention from them. That is a little bit of a dopamine high, right? You're getting a little bit of a dopamine high. You're wearing the rose-colored glasses. You want things to be more special than maybe they really are in reality because it feels so good to get attention and to get affection, okay? And that's that kind of limerence, fantastical thinking. And a lot of people do it in the beginning stages, but it's so important to stay detached and to see the red flags for what they are and not gloss over the red flags because someone's giving you a lot of attention or a lot of validation. The reason a lot of us like validation is because we could potentially have some kind of wound, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. Something like that. Or, we have things in our lives that we're not happy with, and relationships can be a distraction from the things that we have going on in our life. And the more that you obsess over someone and then you put them on a pedestal, the more you're distracted from your own reality. Okay, so we love getting that attention, we love getting those messages. It's this high, it's actually scientifically proven. It is oxytocin, it is serotonin, it is dopamine, it is endorphins, it's chemicals flooding in, and it has nothing to do with the other person, not really, and more to do about you and the value that you place on them and the dopamine hit that we get. Oh, yes, 100%. I was just saying before, Page of Pentacles in reverse here is having some real world struggles that we're ignoring because we're focusing on the messaging or on the attention. Okay, real world struggles. That feeling of I'm not enough and I'm latching onto this person because I don't know if I can do any better. Now, I'm not saying that that's you, but that is just what we're talking about today in general, about how we get into these situations where we put so much emphasis on this person who's just a human, who let's focus on the flaws that they have more so than this idea that we're creating in our head about somebody. A lot of the times, when we put more emphasis on the other person and romanticizing them, it can be because maybe, like I said before, things aren't moving in our lives. We could be feeling stuck. Eight of Wands in reverse. Sometimes when somebody blocks us, if this is a situation where somebody got blocked, or maybe you got blocked, or somebody ghosted you, that can create this like limerence or this obsession, because it doesn't feel good when that happens to us, right? And guess what? People block each other all the time. Sometimes someone blocks you because they simply just don't like what you said to them. And it can really create a scenario where we just want to escape what we have going on. We want to tell ourselves a different story. We don't want to see the truth of what's happening. Why is this Eight of Wands in reverse here? Some clarity. We really just want this reciprocal love. And sometimes we lie to ourselves because we want it. We want this. We want it badly. Yes, 100%. I am not a fan of being the Lulu in relationships because it's dangerous to lie to yourself and to put someone on a pedestal. But yes, we want that reciprocal love. We want to feel good. We want to feel good. And also, there is probably a lot of information on the internet, and it can be confusing to know how to get this type of relationship. Sometimes they tell you, just build them up, give them good energy. We got to give yourself that good energy. This is a very protective energy, the Four of Pentacles. This is a lack mentality, right? It's also territorial. We can become very territorial in relationships. Four of Pentacles, very possessive, very territorial. But once again, it's that lack mindset. It's that I don't know if I'm ever going to meet somebody else who's interested in me. I don't know if I'm ever going to meet someone else this good. So, and we give so much value to that other person that it's almost like imposter syndrome, where you don't think that you're able to meet someone else. You don't think that you're able. That's an imposter syndrome. That's kind of a trauma response. And it's just a story that you tell yourself. And there are a lot of people out there. So it's important to remember that you absolutely can meet someone else. You absolutely can attract someone better for you. Don't have to focus so much on just one person. It's a protective kind of mentality. Ooh, wow, hold on, we got a card flying out. All right. Sometimes we feel stuck. Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is mental restriction, but it's not real. It's a self-imposed limitation. So, you have self-limiting beliefs. We all have self-limiting beliefs that we have to deal with. And this is very much doing the shadow work, and it starts with you. It starts with how do you talk about yourself? How do you treat yourself? Because the way you treat yourself is the way other people are going to treat you. So it's important to remember that you are never stuck in a situation. You can choose you can choose to leave a situation. You can choose to better your situation. You can choose to talk to yourself better. The self-love stuff is really, really important. The self-love is so important for your self-confidence so that you can realize that no, I don't have to stay in a situation where maybe I'm not getting the respect and the love I deserve. Maybe I'm giving the other person more attention, more validation than they're giving me. And it's important to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're in that type of situation. Don't limit yourself. You can be more than you give yourself credit for. Don't limit yourself. And I was watching this video on YouTube. I like to talk about my stories here and relate them to you because I think that they're valid. Where this girl, I forget the name of the YouTuber, but she was basically talking about romantic obsession and putting people on pedestals, because that those chemicals that we get when we first meet someone can cause you to have those obsessive thoughts. And like I said before, it's the serotonin, it's the oxytocin, it's the dopamine, it's the endorphins, it's the good feelings that we have when we like someone. And it can distort our perception of this person so much so that we have like Prince Charming or Princess Charming syndrome. And all of a sudden, we're in a fantasy world. And in reality, everybody else around us could be like, I don't know what you see in this person. And that's because we're just kind of intoxicated by the chemicals that we feel, so much so that we build someone up in our heads and it isn't even reality. And so that's a little bit dangerous, right? But the star here is alignment. Okay, so if you do end up in a situation like that, I feel like it's an important thing to be able to recognize, and it's teaching you something about yourself. It's teaching you how you are in relationships. It's teaching you to live in the moment. Hi, P. I'm doing okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking. How are you? So I was really inspired to do this video. I don't think it's going to be popular, but that's okay because I know what it's like when you meet someone and you ignore every single red flag, you ignore all of your friends and all of your family, because you feel good and you just are kind of skewing reality, lying to yourself a little bit. We don't see it as lying to ourselves because we're just in a state of intoxication with all these chemicals. And we give all of our power away to another person. It's an important part of our journey because that happens to everybody. It happens to absolutely everybody. The amount that we do it, I mean, it can be different depending on the person's wounds and their core beliefs in themselves and their self-worth. Because an empress is not gonna put up with someone treating them a certain way, right? Blocking them, ghosting them, manipulating them, not giving them energy, putting them down, treating them like a pick me. An empress isn't gonna put up with that. But if you have a core wound of I'm not good enough because you think that you can't meet someone else, all of this goes back to childhood trauma. If you have that core wound, you're more than likely more susceptible to falling into these type of relationships where you build the person up in your head, you give them a lot of energy, attention, you even maybe think they're like godlike. It's kind of that, oh, they're so amazing. And then, you get into that fantastical belief of who they are, and then you ignore all the red flags and you stay longer than you should, even though all your friends and family are telling you this person's no good, right? That's the kind of story that I'm talking about here. P says, doing fine too. Awesome. I hope school's going well. But anyway, this is an important part of our journey. It's an important part of our relationship karma, our relationship patterns, to know if you have a tendency to fall into those type of relationships. And with the star here, things are conspiring to align you with what you're meant to have and what you're meant to be. And it's important to remember your worth in all this. Because you don't necessarily want someone to do that for you. You don't necessarily want someone to fall into limerence or fantastical thinking about you. I know, a lot of people will say, oh, I want this next person to be obsessed with me. But the thing is that obsession is delusion. Obsession is unhealthy. Obsession doesn't last. What you want is this Two of Cups. And I think in this day and age, it can be really hard to achieve. It's like oatmeal. It's like pizza or oatmeal. Pizza, you're going to regret it later. Oatmeal, it's good for you. Fruit is good for you. You're not going to regret that later. So it's important to remember your self-worth. It's important to remember to detach a little bit before you get into that delusional thinking and you have all those chemicals in your brain, giving someone all your power. Take your power back, pull all your power back, realize that this person has flaws too. They're human. They're not a god. They're not perfect. Take them off the pedestal. Take the rose-colored glasses off. See who they really are. See how they're really affecting your reality. Because I talk about all the time on this channel, energy entanglement is real. And the more that you're realizing that relationships can make you or they can break you, the more you're going to live in reality, the more you're going to be mindful to what's actually going on in your relationship or in your crush or in your mind. And I want to pull more. I'm going to get a different deck. How are you guys doing today? Hello. Yes, I'm not going to be doing my normal live tomorrow because it's Mother's Day. I will be raffling off 1 or 2 questions the following weekend. So if you want that, I'm always available for private readings. Questions are $5 or $20 if you want an in-depth. All right, so let's get into it. So yes, that's why I'm live today, because I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow, guys. Because it's a Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to those of you who celebrate. And hopefully it won't be chaotic because of the full moon that we're going into on Monday. Okay, so for those of you who need a boost, those of you who are maybe struggling with some self-worth, struggling to realize that you deserve better, this is for you. What cards do we have? 2 of Swords reverse. So 2 of Swords reverse, be decisive. I know that it's challenging, but this is for those people who tend to be back and forth in relationships. Be decisive. If somebody is showing red flags and they're showing repeat patterns that they don't change, don't be afraid to distance yourself and be decisive with that. Don't go back and forth. It's important. It's important for continuity and for consistency, okay? And this is another card of pulling off the rose-colored glasses, take off the blindfold, allow yourself to see what's right in front of you so you can make an informed decision. The quicker that we see red flags that are a no-go and that we cut them off, the sooner we get to the good relationships, the sooner we get to the relationships that are going to be good for us and that are reciprocal. So that's why it's really, really important to not go into delulu, fantastical thinking early in dating, because you're going to spend so much time, wasted so much time on someone. And the longer that you stay with someone, the harder it is to leave. So notice those red flags early. Don't live in, don't fantasize fantastical. What am I trying to say? Don't wear the rose-colored glasses and romanticize the person too early on. Okay. because the longer we stay in a relationship, the harder it is to get out of it. La Pape, the Hierophant. So the Hierophant, I think that a lot of people nowadays are not traditional. I am a big fan of taking it slow and more traditional and more conservative. In if you're looking for a long-term relationship, this is a great approach. Honestly, your higher power is always with whatever your higher power is, source consciousness, God, whatever you believe in out there, it's always there for you to ask, you know, is this person of value? Is this person going to be committed in a traditional sense? Are they going to pass the God test? Would they pass the God test? That's a question that I don't think anybody asks, right? And would they? And is that what you're looking for? Being more traditional in relationships means going slower. It means making someone prove themselves to you because you're the prize, not them. Okay. And it's important to remember that. And it's not about I'm better than them, they're better than me. It's about valuing yourself, realizing that you and your energy are precious and priceless. So taking your time, valuing yourself, having them prove themselves to you in one way or another, prove that they're worthy of your time. Doesn't matter what gender you are, it's important. So I am a huge, huge fan of this traditional way of doing things for that reason. Do they pass the God test? Would they, would they jump through fire for me? How much would they do for me? Instead of, I'm doing everything for them, it's a reciprocal playing field. Would they do for me what I'm doing for them? Take them off that pedestal. I'm going to keep saying that because I feel like that's really, really, really important. Because when we like someone, we can sometimes forget about the fact of whether or not, do I really like this person? I just want to keep their attention. I want them to keep liking me instead of I need to get to know this person deep down. Sometimes we can get caught up in that. I just want them to keep liking me. And then we can get lost in that and forget about the fact that I don't even really know them. Do I really like them like that? It takes time. I think there's a statistic online that says something about like you never really know a person until you live with them. And even still, it can take a year, 2 years. My cat's acting up. Kitty. It can take a few years to really get to know someone, okay? The Magician, you have all the resources at your disposal. Don't tell yourself a story that I can't attract someone this good. I'll never get another opportunity. I'm not good enough. Try and build yourself up instead because you have all the resources at your disposal. The Magician, especially if you believe in manifestation. Manifestation is strong and it starts with, like I said before, it starts with you. It starts with how you talk to yourself. It starts with how you think about yourself. It starts with what you allow, right? So if you're comfortable with the dynamic that you give someone all the attention and you put them on a pedestal and you bend over backwards for them, then that's the dynamics that you're going to always attract. But if you don't like that, then you can create with all the resources at your disposal here with the Magician. You can manifest or create different type of scenarios by talking differently about yourself, by putting up boundaries, by not attaching yourself too early, by making someone prove that they will go the extra mile for you. Okay. Do they pass the God test? I like that one. And for me, God is energy, source consciousness, whatever it is for you. The star came out twice. The star is very much about the subconscious. We date from our subconscious. Maybe this isn't fun, and maybe this isn't woo-woo, and maybe this isn't saying you're going to have that happy ever after. You write that story. The star is the subconscious. We date with our subconscious, and we get what we are subconsciously asking. So let's say that you say outwardly, I want love so bad, but then in your subconscious, you think that you're not good enough. Well, the universe is going to deliver up someone who gives you what you secretly believe about yourself. That's why we always talk about healing, shadow work, facing the trauma, because otherwise you're going to be being delivered more trauma because of that core wound that you have with yourself. Work on your relationship with yourself, because we're tested, we're faced with the same situation over and over and over again, because we secretly haven't done the changes that we need to create better, to manifest better, to use the sources better, to ask them if they pass the God test. 100%. Do they? Does this person even pass the God test? If not, I don't know. And what do I mean by that? Meaning, are they altruistic? Do they have good intentions? Are they just trying to manipulate me? Are they just trying to get something out of me? Is it pure? And that's what I mean by that. So I'm not sure if it makes sense, but thought I would explain it. So what do we have here? We have the Justice card, 100%. This is getting what we deserve. This is being balanced in a relationship. This is things being fair. Hopefully you want that. The thing is that with the star being here, you could say that that's what you want. You could say it out loud, but then deep down in your subconscious, like I said, you could have some masochism there. You could have some low self-worth. So then you're still ordering from that core wound, that core trauma. I hope that's making sense. So that's why it's like you have to deep down know, no, I don't want to secretly hurt myself. I don't really want to do that subconsciously. I know that I deserve better. I feel deep down in my subconscious that I deserve better, that I deserve reciprocal, that I deserve someone to go the extra mile for me, that I deserve to have that attention, that I deserve to not be in a situation where I am subservient to someone else, giving them all my attention, power, always waiting for them, even though they treat me badly. No, I deserve better. So even though we say that we want these things, we have to feel that subconsciously, that that's what we want, that that's what we deserve, and heal that pick me, heal that I'm not good enough, that low self-worth, heal that. It is so important to heal that within yourself. And it's really, it can be the imposter syndrome. It can be the self-limiting beliefs. It can be the childhood trauma. It can be the trauma from other relationships. It can be the trust issues. If you have all that rooting around in your subconscious, you're more than likely to continue to attract relationships that will bring up those wounds until that's healed. Four of Cups. If you're unsatisfied in your own life outside of relationships, this is kind of bordering on talking about codependence. Now, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I do know that it is important to have a fulfilling life outside of any kind of relationship. Because if you get into a relationship, you're not happy with your life, you're still not going to be happy even in that relationship. You're going to still feel unfulfilled. You could even create tension within your relationship because you haven't worked on yourself. You haven't worked on your life. So it's important to have a fulfilling life outside of any kind of relationship that you have. Four of Cups. A relationship can't be your everything. A relationship can't fix your life. And in fact, it can potentially make things worse for you. If you're not careful. Five of Pentacles in reverse, like I said before, healing that lack mentality. So, and this, I sometimes see the Five of Pentacles as abandonment wounds, attachment disorders, and money. I talk about it all the time. If your finances are unstable, it's going to affect your relationship because it affects your self-worth. So coming out of a lack mentality, healing those abandonment issues, getting financially sound, these are all things that you do to attract better relationships and to not feel as though you have to put up with bad behavior and make someone feel special, even though they're not doing that for you. because you are special, because you are the prize. Okay, let's get some oracle cards. How are you guys doing with this topic? I feel like maybe it's a bit real. It's a bit real and it's a bit raw for everyone out there. Okay. Let's get some oracle cards. All right. Oh, these stick together a little bit. Sun, paint the sun back into your sky. I love that. If you have a life that's fulfilling and you have friends and family and you feel good about yourself and you know, I deserve to have someone, you know, treat me a certain way, that's going to really make a difference in your dating life, in your relationships. Paint the sun back into your sky. Paint the sun. I love that. Okay. We are all just stardust. Yes. We are all just stardust. That's cute. I love that. I'm just going to get one more and then I'm going to get out of here, you guys. This was just a short little talk. My cat really wants attention. And then we have Gray. Endings are inevitable. Endings are inevitable. Yeah, you can't be afraid of breakups. You can't be afraid to be alone. Because when you're afraid to be alone, when you're afraid to break up with someone, when you're afraid to lose someone, that puts you in a position to put up with things that maybe you shouldn't. And we don't want to do that, okay? We want to empower ourselves to walk away when we need to and not be afraid. Okay, you guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I hope this reading elevated your consciousness in some type of way, shape, or form. I'll see y'all later. Bye.